Welcome back. In a push to modernise education and tackle chronic teacher shortages, the New South Wales Government has proposed a major overhaul to the system if they're re-elected. 2-year postgraduate teaching degrees will be scrapped and replaced with a 1-year course to attract aspiring teachers into the classroom. For more on this, I'm joined by the Australian Catholic University Senior Research Fellow, Dr. Kevin Donnelly. Kevin, welcome to the show. Is this a good idea?
Definitely, Cory. I'm old enough to remember doing an undergraduate degree, 3 years back in the day. And then I did a diploma of education, 1 year at Dip Ed. And this was for secondary teaching. And I think it was about 20, 30 years ago, maybe a bit longer, the university faculties of education moved towards a 2-year or a master's degree in education instead of a Dip Ed. Now, I think that was a bad move. The reality is, if you can't teach a beginning teacher in 1 year what they need to know, really in 2 years, I think you're not going to achieve it either. And what the Productivity Commission found out, by making it a 2-year degree, that was a disincentive for many people, especially older people who might be changing their career, going into teaching, because there was the financial cost of a 2-year degree instead of 1 year. So all round, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, one of the conversations I was having with someone earlier today was, if you've already done an undergraduate degree, you've got some idea of specialised knowledge. If you've got workplace experience on top of that, that's built upon it, and you've got some life wisdom as well. 1 year should be sufficient in how to translate that into an effective teaching environment versus someone who's got a very low ATAR that can get into teachers' college, do 3 years, and doesn't really have the experience or the specialist knowledge that perhaps we need in our education programs.
You're right, Cory. I mean, it's a very complex issue, teacher quality, teacher training, what makes an effective teacher. But you're right, if you don't have that substantial undergraduate degree, whether it's in mathematics or science or literature, which is what I did, if you don't have that body of knowledge, if you're not a subject expert in your area, then it really doesn't matter what you do over the 2-year masters, it's not going to help. Because once you go into the classroom, as well as knowing how to teach, what the pedagogy is, how you relate to students, how you more effectively deal with them, if you don't have that grounding in terms of the knowledge, the understanding and skills related to your subject, then you're not going to be very effective. So we need to look at the quality of the undergraduate degree, but also we need to look very closely at what would happen over the 1-year Dip Ed, because as you're aware, universities are very woke, and even with the 2-year master's degree, a lot of that is taken up with, whether it's the environment, sustainability, Indigenous studies, there are all of these woke issues that they're asking teachers to deal with. So we need to look very carefully at the quality of that teacher training, making sure that it's based on the evidence about what actually works in the classroom.
Yeah, quite right. And sometimes it's just about going back to the basics and not looking at mathematics through a social policy lens. But the data suggests that the longer qualification actually deterred more than 9,000 would-be teachers from entering the profession. It's getting harder and harder to find decent teachers and find people who want to enter into it. So it seems the data supports what you're saying too.
It is, and the Productivity Commission has done a good job here. But again, as I said before, it's very complicated. Teaching, there's a very high attrition rate in teaching at the moment, where by some accounts up to 30% of teachers don't see themselves in the profession in 2 or 3 years. There's a very high attrition rate, a very high burnout rate with young teachers in particular. And there are other issues here. It's all very well to say you can get more teachers into the profession, but the real challenge is to keep them, because all the research shows the longer they're teaching, the more experienced they are, the more capable they are in achieving high standards for students. So we need to look at what's happening with teachers. Why are they leaving? Is it the crowded curriculum? Is it the accountability and reporting system, which is onerous, very time-consuming? Is it the fact that we have very disruptive classrooms? When you look at teacher surveys, it's often not about the money, it's more about these other issues.
Yeah, I think all three of those issues are key, but let's all remember that good teachers really change kids' lives, and that's what we want to see in our school system. Kevin Donnelly, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining me tonight.